Hello, everyone, and welcome to the next chapter of From Nothing, Tam's story. Now, last time you did a bit of a stakeout, and so we. you make the comment that you scurry back to the physicary to basically apologize to Zurich and Annika for not having been there in time.
Yes.
And you award them a bardic inspiration. And Zurich and Annika would receive this in good humor, understanding that you are a student of the Merigard.
He likes to keep his promises, though, and he takes, for as much as he is a bard, he does take his work very seriously, because that's how he was raised. And so I think he would be very apologetic and also very kind of like falling over himself in his apology, and give them bardic and give them guidance and just just generally like I'm gonna come as much as I can. I didn't know it was gonna take this long, but I really appreciate it here, and thanks for teaching me, and I want to be here, I promise.
I
Would
think
be
they
the
would,
general vibe.
yeah, I think they would receive that well. By the time that you got there, they wouldn't be seeing patients anymore. So instead, you would be seeing Annika working at the small forge there, and Zurich helping her instead. So they would take your bardic inspiration and use it well. After that, I'm going to assume that you would go to sleep in order to wake up
Correct.
in time for class.
Correct.
Okay. Do you get breakfast in the morning?
Yes, breakfast in the morning.
All right. One moment.
Tam is a creature of routine.
You gain 10 temporary hit points from breakfast that morning.
Holy crap. Some
It is
good eggs and
apparently
bacon.
delicious, yeah. We'll say that this time it is instead like steak and eggs with potatoes
Oh,
and assorted
heck,
vegetables and such.
heck yeah.
But after that, you make your way to the Bard's classroom, where you
Curious word.
find Yithrun, Norre, and Tally as always.
He I feel like he kind of would enter the room kind of like, I mean, it's good egg. This is some good steak and eggs, man. He would enter the room kind of like at the beginning of Emperor's New Groove, how Cusco just kind of like boom, baby, like that kind of
Sure.
energy walking into the door.
I think everyone would be startled, but Tally would say, I love it. I love the energy. Gotta make an entrance. Always. Perfect. And then she will wave for you to approach.
He will do so and also tap Yithrin on the shoulder per their little ritual, give him some guidance.
Okay. He actually wouldn't look up this time, as he is intent with a book open, and you see him really intently trying to get the chords down for a particular spell. So he would not look up, but he just kind of gives you a nod as he's working. Tally would look at you, and she would say, How do you feel about breaking the law?
Well, I'm not used to it. Do you have to break the law a lot at the Merit Academy?
Sometimes it does happen. Uh,
Huh.
well, it's part of being a contractor. Sometimes the things we go out and do, they're not quite so legal.
Okay. Well, I could try. I Yeah,
Well,
I could try to break the law. I might need some help though.
you won't be directly breaking the law, but you'll be helping others to do so. Does that make sense?
Is it like murder? What kind of law am I breaking?
You are creating a distraction for a theft to occur. How do you feel about that?
I guess it depends who's doing the stealing and who's getting stolen from. We're not like stealing from poor folk that need food, right?
Well, see, this is the sticky part. As a contractor, these are not questions we usually ask.
Oh,
You understand? Parsh does the curating of what jobs we take, and we trust him.
Well, if Persh is involved, then it's probably fine. I trust Persh. He seems like he knows what he's doing.
Well, he certainly does know what he's doing. Well, you'll see what I mean when we get into further jobs and it gets stickier. This one's pretty simple. I don't actually know the details, though, so you're going to have to go talk to Persh. But that's today's free agency, as I heard you did really well yesterday.
Yeah, they paid me and everything. It was really sweet.
It sounds like you made Glass real happy down at the Griffin's back. And so, the next free agency comes down the pipe, and you're up to bat once more.
Hey. Am I going to Persh now, or do you have general ideas of what I'm doing?
I just know you're creating a distraction so somebody can steal something.
All right, I can do that. I'm very annoying apparently, so that should help.
Tally kind of side eyes toward Norre. Do you look at Norre?
I mean, I don't think he would. I think he would just sort of state it brightly and matter of factly.
Okay.
Without ire.
Sure. Tally says, "Fantastic. Right. Well, once you've gotten yourself ready, got your stuff together, go and talk to Persh, and he'll sort you out."
I guess. Bye, Tally. Oh, did you get my drink last night?
I did.
I'm
Thank
glad. You. Yeah, sure thing. Okay, bye.
Tally waves as you leave the room. And as you emerge out into the Merry Guard, you head to... Oops, Skolna's not there. You head to the main hall where you can find Persh behind the desk. He looks up at you as you emerge and he says, "Good morning."
Tally says you want me to break the law?
Right. Yes, we do have a task that is requiring some above-the-law behaviors. You... Here. And he opens up a file. He picks up like a pile of papers and opens them up and he says, "You will be meeting with an individual down by the docks, the southern docks. You will be looking for a Marcus Nolan."
Marcus Nolan. What does this person look like?
A human from Trident. Let's see here. It says... Oh, well, here. And he shows you a picture. You know what this man looks like. And he says, "You and a companion... let me see who's available. And I need you to roll me a d10.
Okay. What strong silent type will I be paired with today?
It's a good question.
9.
9. Okay. Persh nods and says, "Okay. This will be interesting." He picks up the sounding box, pulls the blue stone up to his mouth and says, "Oi, treat. I got a free agency. Who have you got?" "Right, send him down." "She'll be right here. Go ahead and wait a minute."
I think Tam would stiffen a little bit at... He said treat, right? Like the cleric instructor?
Yep.
Yeah. So Tam looks a little deer in headlights for a second and then like shuffles quietly back to and like kind of tries to polish himself off.
Sure. As you're waiting, it doesn't take long, but the sound of heavy metal clattering together rings from the left side hallway. And then rounding the corner is a striking blonde-haired dwarf. This is what she looks like. And And as she emerges, she says, "Aye, Persh! You called for me!" And Persh says, "Morning, Sigona. You're on free agency with Tamir." Sigona looks to you and says, "Morning!
Morning.
I'm Sigona. I guess we're working together."
Guess we are. You're a cleric?
Uh-huh. Cleric
Cool.
of Storms. And she brandishes, she puts like two fingers toward the large holy symbol of jagged lines that symbols the god Nier, a chaotic god of storms and oceans.
Tam will use thaumaturgy, I guess it would be thaumaturgy, to make a little thunderclap sound. And hold out his hand.
Neat trick. I can do that too. It's a bit less subtle, and she will shake your hand. It's a pretty stout handshake.
Okay. Tam will do his best to match it.
Sigona looks at you, kind of looks you up and down, and she says, "Right, so what's your deal?"
I'm a bard.
Aye.
I'm trying to be. But we're supposed to go meet a human down by the docks. His name is Marcus Nolan. And we're supposed to create some kind of distraction while he, I guess, moves some goods.
You see Sigona thinks about
Or
it,
something.
and she looks at Persh. She says, "What else can you tell us, old man?" Persh kind of scowls over the desk at Sigona, but he says, "Right, well, from what I understand, there have been goods that have been acquired illegally, and Marcus Nolan has contracted us, has asked us and provided us the opportunity for the hands-on training of, potentially causing up a stir, but lifting illegal goods off of a boat that they should not be on."
Is this the kind of guy that we've worked with before? Do we trust this guy? You trust him enough to contract us to him, so I trust you. But I just am curious.
Persh looks at you, and he says, "The worst that'll happen is you'll get arrested. And should that happen, I'll be down to the constabularies this afternoon, and I'll get you out." Do you understand?
Understand? I've never been arrested before, but
Eh,
sounds like it'll be all right.
to be honest with you, as a contractor, that's the sort of thing you're going to have to accept as either a possibility or an inevitability. Sometimes the people that we contract for need us to do things that are not above the law. And as contractors, especially of the Maryguard Academy, we are not subject to the same laws as people who are of those nations. Does that make sense?
Huh. All right.
It basically
Must have-
means we pay lots of gold to get our adventurers out of jail.
Oh, I see. Okay. We're rich and therefore have some sway over the law.
Persh taps some papers on the desk and says, "We're certainly not rich. Don't think like that or you're going to be in trouble."
Good to know. Good to know.
Anyway, off you go. Best of luck. I'll be waiting.
Oh. Tam scurries out. Although I think he half scurries, but then waits for Sigona.
Yeah, Sigona is a dwarf, and so she doesn't move as quickly as you. She is 4'2", but very stockily and stoutly built. And her heavy, it's not plate armor, but it's splint mail, rattles underneath her tabard as she keeps up with you. And as she follows you, she says, "So what's your deal? I almost get a sense of divinity from you. Are you an Aasimar?"
No, my parents are clerics.
Hmm. What changed your mind?
Ah, you don't happen to know a god called the Fiddler, do you?
Aye. It's the
Well,
bard god, the storyteller.
yeah, Fiddler's great. But my parents, they worship Magos. And Magos is great. Like, nothing against Magos. He's an incredible god, really good. Like, my dad saw him one time. It was really cool for him. Uh, but it's not the right god for me.
Yeah, first
So,
impressions doesn't say you're super bookish, are you?
not really. I'm not a very good reader.
I could see how that would be a bad fit.
Yeah.
Have you thought about
Any,
Nier?
yeah, Nier's great.
All
Real
about
powerful.
all about chaos.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, that's also a fit. I think the Fiddler's better for me. He kind of like taps his little bow. Um,
So why be a bard?
but
You could be a fiddler, cleric.
uh, that's true. My parents, they wouldn't like either thing. And I always wanted to just tell stories and play and, you know, make people happy.
Well, if there's one thing me dad told me when I was growing up, everyone worships in their own way. And that's not for me to judge you. It's not for anybody to judge you. Not even your family. If you have a
Family over.
conversation with your God and it satisfies you, good enough.
Thanks.
Have you tried reaching out to the fiddler?
Yeah, yeah. It gave me some real good advice one time. There was the first thing that I was asked to do when I first got here. I had to like figure out when was the best time to play, and oh man, I was real bad at it. And then I prayed to the fiddler, and the fiddler gave me some advice. Some not like didn't talk to me, but I could hear some music. It was nice. It was a big help.
That's fascinating.
Is it?
Yeah. Every. Well, I can hear Nier in every storm. So anytime it's
Good.
storming, I'm always outside because I want to hear if he has something to tell me.
He ever talked to you before?
Once, he's the
What did he
reason I
say?
became a cleric.
Can I ask what he said? Or is it
Roll a persuasion check.
fine? It's fair. No, it's fair. Oh, no.
Sagona, like, kind of gives you a shove on the hip and she says, at least get to know me first before you start digging into my history. You're cute and all, but we've known each other 10 minutes.
Sorry. I'm sorry. I'm just curious. But hey, so how much would I know about Nier as a cleric myself,
Roll a
but not a
religion
cleric
check.
of Nier? Okay.
It's possible you know quite a bit. It's possible you know nothing.
That's totally fair. Uh, here's Tam with his crap rolls again.
6. Nier is not a god that. So, gods kind of have similar lines that their portfolios kind of run along, if you know what I mean. And
Sure.
Nier and Magos do not line up in
Yeah,
any way.
not so much. It's fair.
Magos is all about study and knowledge and magic and understanding. And Nier is all about the primal forces of nature and chaos and trying to understand when a storm is in your favor and when it is not. So basically, Nier and Magos are they're in different cities. They have
Pretty
nothing to do with each
opposite.
other. Yeah.
Sure.
Both neutral, but not the same.
Yeah, makes sense. So it makes a lot of sense that I don't really know a whole lot.
Yeah, it just wouldn't have been something you would have studied much.
Yeah.
At least that's
Tam is also
with a
not
6
great at
apparently.
study. Yeah, Tam is also not great at study to begin with, so that makes even more sense.
Yeah. So,
Okay.
as the two of you leave the Marigard Academy and you begin to walk slowly, kind of at a relaxed pace, making your way toward the southern docks, I need you to roll me a d8.
Okie dokie. 8.
8. Roll me a d100.
Ooh. 87.
87. Let's see here. Reroll. That doesn't work.
Okay.
Sorry.
All good. 79?
Okay, let's see. As you are walking, and you're right by East Park, you suddenly hear the word treasure. It just, in the middle of a conversation. You stop for a second and listen, and you hear a small group of people that look like not Marigard contractors, but adventurers. And it sounds like they're talking about treasure hidden in a nearby dungeon.
Okay. We're in East Park. I met that little girl, Calliope, yesterday that marked a map with an X nearby East Park. Are we anywhere near there?
Roll me a survival.
Okay.
And then roll me a perception. Okay, 20 for survival. Roll me perception.
Yeah, it's terrible.
A 5. The actual specific conversation these adventurers are having is hard for you to hear. But with a survival, you look around the East Park where you are, and you remember back to the map that Calliope had inscribed. You're not in the same spot.
Okay. So this is different treasure, maybe.
From what you can tell with that 5, you don't think they're talking about anything in the city.
Okay. I'm gonna look at Sagona and be like, treasure. Do you want to check out what they're talking about?
Yeah. I mean, I always could line my pockets. What kind of dwarf doesn't like gold?
You tell me. You know more about dwarves than I do. Okay.
We all like gold.
Do you want...
All of us. Every single one. Yeah, let's listen in.
And she
Good to know.
kind of tries to creep up closer. I'm going to roll a stealth for Sagona. It's not going to be great. She's in splint mail.
Yeah, it's fair. I'll roll stealth for him. I'll roll stealth for Tam too.
Sagona rolled a 12. It's actually not terrible for a cleric in splint mail. 17.
Tam rolled a 17.
Okay. Let me roll a perception for this adventurers. They rolled an 8. The two of you listen in, and what you gather is somewhere nearby in the Alland Forest there is the ruins of a village. And in that village there is a cavern that reaches below that once belonged to kobolds, and now it seems as though the hoard that the kobolds had gathered for their own treasure, the gems that they had collected, were left behind.
Oh. So this is like some information that we have. Do we have any idea what the name of the tavern is or anything?
Tavern?
Because the tavern is the place where the kobolds
Cavern.
have their town. Oh, cavern, not a tavern. Okay, that makes more sense.
Roll perception. I'll roll one for
okay.
Sagona as well. See if you can catch the name. Sagona rolled a natural 5 for a 12.
Once again, nothing except for that survival. Nothing above a 9.
So you rolled an 11. Sagona rolled a 12. You can't catch the name of the cavern. They're trying to be hush-hush about it. They haven't noticed you, but they're still speaking quietly, and those perceptions are just not good enough.
That's fair.
You just know it is a nearby cavern that was below an abandoned village in the Allen Forest.
In the Allen Forest. Okay. I'm just gonna. I think Tam will just file that away and be like, he kind of like step back a little bit, sneak back a little bit, and be like, I feel like we're not gonna, like, they'll probably go, but we could tell Persh. He said we're not rich. Maybe the Merigard could use more money?
That's not a bad idea. Maybe we might get sent on the team to go investigate.
Maybe. I don't know.
Exciting.
That would be exciting. Okay.
Right, let's go find this ne'er-do-well, huh?
Yeah. On the way there, do you want to tell me a little bit more about your god? I don't have anything against clerics. I like clerics a lot.
You want to know about Nier?
Yeah. Clerics like to talk about their god. I should know. My
Fuck yeah,
parents
I'll
like
tell you about Nier if you're interested.
Yeah. Gods are fascinating.
So as you're walking, Sagona like holds up the symbol, which is for parallel, jagged, waving lines. And she says, Nier once inscribed this on his first prophet. This symbol was burned on his forehead, and they thought it meant the ocean. You know, kind of like waving water.
Sure.
But it's lightning. Because anytime it's a near blessed storm, the lightning, you can see it. It's perfect. There's no branches. It always hits what he's aiming for.
Whoa. That's really cool.
Yeah. So when I say chaotic, he just doesn't like it when people try to control what other people are doing. He doesn't like the code of law that would define our lives. He wants us to instead act as we would naturally, almost by instinct. And if that means you're a good person or a bad person, so long as it's who you are naturally, Nier is happy with that. And
Tam kind of shifts a little bit uncomfortably.
Yeah. So Sagona will go on to tell you about Nier, the god of storms. You learn that he's a very much reflected god in old warfare. The two gods that typically came up a lot that were praised by those in battle were Vion, who you know is a lawful good god of war. But then another, because often he imbued his followers and prophets with strength, was Nier, chaotic neutral god of storms. Because, along with what Sagona is telling you, if your true nature is to fight, then Nier wants you to embrace it.
You know what your true nature is.
Sagona shrugs. That's what I'm trying to learn.
There's not like some kind of spell you can cast.
You keep trying things until it feels right.
Huh. That's kind of nice.
Isn't it? It's very freeing. And it's why I'm doing this. I want to know what it is that life has in store for me. I don't believe in fate or that anything's predetermined. But I know that my soul yearns for something, and I don't know what it is, but Nier might. And when I get there, he'll let me know.
I like you. You really believe in something.
Sagona beams and she says, "Of course I do." And you'd be a fool not to like me. As you're walking, she like folds her arms across the splint mail.
I like you even more.
Well, after all this is done, then you can treat me to a drink.
Yeah, gladly.
Good. Where are we going?
And you find yourself in the middle of the Ferrum Market, surrounded by people and vendors trying to pitch you their wares. It is busy as you're in the morning of Ferrum in the market, and all sorts of salesmen are trying to pitch you eggs and jewelry and clothes and trolley cakes and desserts and anything that you could take home, fish, meats. It's kind of like getting knocked around like in a pinball machine.
Pam will be distracted by the desserts.
Okay. The first thing and the most tempting dessert is the cart that is hot frying trolley cakes, which are these enormous donuts filled with custard that are then pan fried in caramel.
I learned about these in Kala's session, and I'm so mad at you for making them up because now I want one all the time.
Sorry that they're not real.
I am very mad that they're not real. Yes, Tam will want a trolley cake and will also offer to get Sagona a trolley cake also.
Sagona will look at the trolley cakes and she'll say, "I need to fit in my armor, but aye, yeah, let me get one." And each
You should just get different armor.
She said, "But I like this armor."
I mean, that's fair, but like if Nier wants you to be the person that you are, and the person that you are wants a trolley cake, that seems the right choice, right?
The person that I am really wants a trolley cake.
Then let me get you one. Let me get you one.
The vendor looks up and says,
They're 2 copper apiece. I'm happy to provide.
Any chance you would give me both of them for a little less than that?
It's 2 copper.
You can roll a persuasion check if you want, to try and haggle him down.
I mean, like he haggles on nothing, but this is hilarious.
I mean, it's true. It's literally 2 copper.
What am I doing? Persuasion?
Yes, this is a persuasion to try and haggle down the donut vendor.
He is very charming.
The vendor says,
I'll do you one better. I'll give you 3 trolley cakes for 5 copper.
He's gonna look at Sagona. What do you think?
I mean, we could split the other one.
We could split the other one. Yeah, let's do it.
and Sagona will put 2 copper on the basically the vendor's little counter.
You said you were
Sold.
covering for me, but I can't leave you all of it.
Aw, you're sweet. Okay, I owe you a drink.
I'm a dwarf. Nothing's free.
Okay, 2. That means Tam is 3 copper left.
Yes.
All right, he will pay that 3 copper gladly.
It only takes about 45 seconds. Each trolley cake is fried and then seared up, and then you are handed a small box of 3 piping hot and sticky trolley cakes. Each one's like
So
the
mad.
size of a grapefruit.
So mad I'm not eating one of these right now.
Okay.
But Tam will eat his with gusto.
It is delicious. You have advantage on initiative rolls from all the sugar that
Oh,
you
heck
imbibe.
yeah. Okay. Sugar high.
Yes. But only for the next hour. Because sugar doesn't last all day. But Sagona consumes hers with relish. Not the condiment. And as you finish your trolley cakes, Sagona says, I realize we're supposed to be doing a job, but that was a worthwhile waylay, I think.
It was a good distraction. Yeah, I feel like it'll help us.
100%.
We'll have full stomachs. Hey, I was thinking, I had an idea. We'll see what is available to us when we get there for a distraction. But we can both do this thaumaturgy thing.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm pretty good with images. We could make a storm. I mean, a fake storm. Like, not one of your storms. but we could maybe.
We could make a... You see, Sagona kind of looks a little bit uneasy about it, and she says, we might be able to fool, like, a child.
Yeah, that's fair.
It's just not
We
big
can
enough.
workshop it.
I mean, the best I
We
can
can
do is really aggressively open and close window shutters. And it's not, super useful, but...
I can do that too. We'll workshop it. We'll workshop it.
Okay. She follows you as you head toward the South Docks. Which, as you do, it doesn't take long until you do find the man that you're looking for. An individual with... Hang on, let me pull up the docs. As you approach the docks, you do... have you loaded it? Did it load up for you?
Yeah, it is loaded.
Okay, cool. You see an individual who has kind of very short cut hair and slightly graying on one side, matches the image of what you saw Marcus Nolan was supposed to look like.
Okay.
So I will put you and Sagona out in the world. All right. And as you're approaching, you see this man who is at the end of the docks. Basically, looks like he's kind of nervously pacing at the edge of the dock, looking out into the water, looking back toward the town. And as you're approaching, Sagona says, "Well, if that's not the one we're looking for, I'd eat my own shoe. And I haven't even seen the picture."
That's definitely the one.
God, if he could look any more nervous.
Yeah, that's maybe a problem. Hey, before we get into this, you're okay with this, right? You feel fine about it?
About what?
About, breaking the law and
Oh,
stuff.
who gives a shite? Yes, I'm fine with it.
Okay, cool. Just wanted to check. Figured as much, but figured it would be good to check. Okay.
This is
let's
where the
get talking.
storm guides me. And no
I like
guard
it.
will have anything to say about it.
You're so confident. I
You could be
appreciate
too. You just have to follow near, eh? I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding.
I told you I have a god.
Mm-hmm.
Too many gods, actually.
Right. That's never a good thing. Anyway, let's see what this fucker has to say.
Yeah.
Okay, so you walk up to this man. Okay.
Cheerfully bid him hello.
Oh, good day. Hey. Oh, and you see he notices the paisley embroidery on your clothes, marking you as Merigard, and he says, Are you the two I should be expecting?
Yeah. We figured it was you because you seemed pretty nervous.
Shh, come with me. And he leaves the docks and begins to walk toward an alleyway, and you hear Sagona behind you go, Oh, for Nair's sake. All right.
Tam is somehow more subtle than this man, and that is very terrifying.
It's not. Tam is it is clear this man is not skilled at the sneaking thing. And he stands next to an alleyway, kind of gesturing for you to approach.
Tam will go.
Right. Okay. Fantastic. I'm really pleased that the two of you have come to help me today. Here's the thing. There's a ship that'll be docking here by noon.
You see he pulls out a piece of paper from his bag, and I can't remember the name. I wrote it down just for this.
The Princess's Parley. That's what it's called. And when it pulls in the cargo hold, there is a specific box I need to get out of it. But the problem is that the crew will be offloading and loading all the other things. It doesn't matter. I need the two of you to create a distraction so I can get aboard and get that box.
Do you know what the box looks like?
Uh,
You you know all the things
yes.
you need to know about the box?
It's it's maybe about a foot across. It's reddish brown. Well, they're all reddish brown. Um, it's particularly small, and on the outside it is stamped with the mark of Port Rouge. They might all be
Oh,
port. They are. I'll know the box when I see it. I can say that with confidence.
right. Yeah, we can do that for you. Do you have any suggestions about how you want us to create this distraction?
I, well, I see you have a fiddle there, so maybe you could perform something distracting. Um, and I see you happen to have a very imposing flail. Perhaps you could start a fight, or you could perform a fight, or I don't know, something to get the guards looking your way is what I really need. The guards and the sailors, and the captain, and his bosun.
I mean, if we do both, we could maybe hit more people. He's looking at Sagona, just kind of sizing them up, trying to see what
I
would
mean,
make the
if
most sense.
if you're trying to start a brawl, I can absolutely start a brawl. And she palms a fist into her palm, um, and the hirer Marcus looks up and down the alley and says, that will be perfect. If the two of you could just distract as many people as possible, that would be just exactly what I need. But really, what I'm most concerned about is if the sailors catch hold of me before I can get away, whether it be in the water or into town, that'll probably be the end of this escapade.
Okay. Well, yeah, we will make a distraction. And I mean, can we help you at all in any other way?
Well, what do you have in mind?
Well, when this thing docks, I can give you a little magical help.
Okay.
Okay? That'll help you at least find the thing and get out of there quickly so we don't have to distract them. We don't have to keep their eyes off of you for very long. Does that
Well,
sound okay?
that would be perfect, yes, if you could do that.
Yeah, I can do that. It's a little time limited though, so we gotta get the timing right. Do you know when the ship is coming to port?
Just after noon, I think. And you see he's
Just
like
after.
looking out of the alley at the suns. It might be a couple hours now.
Okay. Well then we can we'll wait. We'll wait until you see the ship. And when it's a little closer to than about 10 minutes ish from port, I'll give you some help. And you can get on it, and we'll cause a distraction.
That's a perfect, excellent plan. Really, honestly, couldn't go better, I think. Uh, and and he looks at Sigona and he says, "What could you do?" And Sigona says, "Well, I could create a distraction, as we've been talking about. Uh, you
She
know,
can give you some magical help too, I bet.
I could certainly. I mean, I could give you guidance. Near could bless you if that would help. A blessing helps most things, as I think about it. I think that's exactly what I should do. Near's gonna bless you, uh, and then at least you'll have better chance of getting through." The man looks questionable and he says, "Near, near." Sure, I don't know what
Uh,
that means, but yes, absolutely, that'll do perfectly.
Real powerful guide. You want him on your side.
Aye, any god'll do. I'm not going to be picky. Um, Now, I wanted to say, before anything goes down, thank you. I know you two are students, but I believe we can do good things together.
And you kind of can tell he's more telling himself that than you. He seems extremely nervous.
All right. I am going to stake out...
You're going to be okay, friend. You're going to be okay.
I hope you're right. You're probably right. Maybe. I'm going to stake out by the end of the dock over here. You two find maybe just a location where you can see me. And as soon as the boat's here, I'll give you this signal.
And he, like, basically does, like, a pinch of the lip and pulls it away as if tweaking at a mustache he doesn't have.
Okay.
And Sagona says, sure.
And he says, perfect. All right, I'm going to go to my position. You two find a spot that doesn't look so conspicuous.
And he goes off to basically, it's like maybe 30 feet away from where you're currently standing in the alleyway. And next to you, Sagona says, 9 hells.
It's gonna be maybe a little difficult, huh?
Wait. I think maybe this is a free agency because they didn't get paid. But let's see if we can make lemonade out of some lemons, shall we?
Yeah, let's do it. Well, how about this? Do you want to try to size up maybe the best folks to start a brawl with, and I'll size up the folks that might be most interested in some music or some stories?
That's a good idea. Also, maybe see what areas the gods are watching the closest.
Yes. We can do that together, maybe. We have a little bit of time.
Yeah, let's do just a walk around the dock and see what we can see.
Cool.
So the two of you do. And as you do, I'd like you to roll me a perception check, and I will roll a perception check for Sagona as well.
I actually did okay on that one.
You did. That's a dirty 20. Fortunately, you have a cleric with you. With a very high wisdom. Sagona rolled a 24.
Amazing.
Like I said, you have a cleric with you. As you're walking around, you keep track of how many guards there are, and just how tight and how frequent their patrol patterns are, where they seem to be paying attention. And some of them, even, like, as you are walking, they see that Sagona is a cleric. They don't know that she's a cleric of Nier, but they ask her for a blessing. And she happily, basically, gives them guidance and says, Nier guides you. And she touches her holy symbol to them, and the guards are just, hey, thank you very much. And just very appreciative. It's the sort of thing that you would have seen quite a bit in your own hometown.
Super used to it.
Yeah, this is nothing
He probably has to honestly kind of hold back from doing the same thing, but he will let her. Like, he doesn't though, because he's trying to get used to not being a cleric himself.
Sure, that makes sense. However, as you are roaming around the docks, there is potential for a random encounter, and so I need you to roll me a d8.
D8. 6.
Roll me a d100.
Okay. 90.
As you are walking, there is one vendor that catches your eye. It's toward the edge of the docks, just at the edge of the market, and it catches your eye because it's a cart with one item on it. The one item is a rapier, a long and slender sword that you know you'd be able to use. You've been trained to use this sort of weapon. And as it's kind of caught your eye, the vendor, who is a human man with long brown hair pulled into a ponytail, and he's wearing simple traveling clothes. He looks at you and he says, "Oh, I've caught your eye, have I?"
I mean, that sword did. You only have one?
"That's right. It's a rare artifact from across the ocean. From back in Astrid the Sea Ice day."
Huh. Can I look at it?
"Of course."
I'm gonna pick it up. Can I like roll Arcana on this to see if there's any like or history or something?
"Sure.
Rare artifact, maybe magical?
Uh,
Question mark.
do you have Identify?"
I don't have Identify. I do have Detect Magic.
Okay. If you choose to cast Detect Magic, that might give you more, but if you want to roll Arcana first, you can.
I'll roll Arcana first. I only have the 2 spell slots, so I mean
Sure.
I could spend 10 minutes on it. 21 on Arcana.
Why don't you roll me a history?
Okay. My weapon history. Oh, that's okay though.
Yeah, with a 21 and a 20. There are inscriptions and symbols along the hilt of this rapier. It feels as though it is meant to be wielded. It feels very light and comfortable in your hands. It feels like it wants to dance. And more importantly, it feels like it wants to dance to whatever tune you might play. You feel like you could sing with this rapier.
Oh, I love that. He's gonna hum a little tune. See if it works.
Roll me performance.
Okay. Watch him get a natural 1 in performance. 10. Okay.
10. There is a resonance between your hum and the rapier in your hand. It seems to fit into the palm of your hand so perfectly that as you hum, there's no vibration that actually reaches the palm of your hand, but you feel your wrist almost move on its own as it wants to dance to your music.
Mm.
This is a rare sword. You don't know specifically where it comes from, as your history check was not. Unfortunately, with a 19, with a history of +1, you just were not educated in this. You couldn't roll high enough. But with an Arcana of 21, the sigils and the inscriptions on the edges of this blade, the intricate way the rapier hilt was built, and the fact that it was built in a way that has not been used in a long time, tells you this is a sword of history, and it might be worth researching.
I love this sword. I'm sure I can't afford it. And that breaks my heart.
The man looks at you and he says, "You would not be the first to have that realization. Unfortunately, I can't part with it for less than 1,000 gold pieces.
Yeah, I don't have that. I understand.
I will likely be here until someone can buy it."
You will?
Mm-hmm. I've been here 2 months already.
Oh, wow. Can I ask what it's called?
Soul Singer.
Oh, what a good name. Soul Singer.
He just kind of watches as the rapier settles into your hand. You get the feeling this sort of weapon can only be attuned to by a bard.
I think. I wish I could wield it right now, but I only have 37 gold in my name.
Well, should you come across more fruitful times, come find me.
Oh, yeah. I mean, is there any way I could give you some now to make a deposit on it or something? That's probably going to I'm just afraid someone's going to buy it because lots of people know I
Tell you what, what's your name?
Temerity.
Temerity. Of the Marigard Academy.
Yeah, right now anyway.
Well,
Just got here.
You are wearing the vestments. I'll make a note of you. And should someone else wish to buy it, they'll have to sway me.
I appreciate it. I could give you a song. I know it's not much. It's not gold, but
It would be nice. I'd appreciate it.
I can do that. Take out his. I don't know. He probably can't play the fiddle at the same time as he's holding the sword. So he'll put
You
the
actually, as you think about it, the rapier that you're holding, the way the hilt fits into your hand feels an awful lot like your bow for your fiddle.
That's so cool. Can he try that? Can he try to like
Yeah,
play
you can certainly
the-
try. You try to play your fiddle with the flat of the rapier. Give
Does
it a
it
shot.
work?
You don't think it would, but when you try, it plays it like an extremely well-waxed horse-string bow.
It's so cool. Tam is like amazed, just so amazed by this. Yeah, he'll absolutely launch into like a jig.
As you play a song,
okay, a reel.
as you play a song with Soul Singer on your fiddle, roll a performance with advantage.
Okay, heck yeah. That's better. 19.
19. The song that you're playing has an interesting, almost resonance behind it. It's as if there's a warmer tone coming out of your fiddle than you expected. Maybe it's the rapier, or maybe it's just the ambience of the area that you're in. But whatever it is that you play, it's that much more beautiful.
Yeah, I think he's playing the first song that he played on his fiddle at home at the Marigard Academy, that Tamlin reel,
Sure.
because that's his fave.
It comes out beautifully. And as you're playing, you suddenly are aware that everyone who was walking by have stopped and are listening. And the shopkeeper, this individual with the one item on his counter, is seated just watching, listening, his foot tapping to the rhythm. And next to you, Sagona is listening raptly, and she says, "That's beautiful."
This is the best sword I've ever seen. I'm gonna get it. One day.
The shopkeeper says, "Maybe. I certainly hope so. You seem a worthy soul."
I appreciate it. He's gonna hand it back.
He sets it down on the middle of the cart and leans back on his chair once again.
Can I make like a quest out of this? Because like Tam has a new purpose in his life, and it's to get this sword.
To get the Soul Singer? Absolutely. We can totally do that. So we can pull up the quest tracker. Hold on. This is not your quest. There is a way to do this. I just don't remember what it is. Quest log. There it is. So we get rid of this. Delete. Add quest. The name of the quest is... What would you like to name this quest?
I mean, I think like just like the quest for souls. Like, how about Soul's Song?
Okay. Description.
Buy this sword before someone else does. Acquire 1,000 gold with which to buy the sword. Force Tam to stop spending money like water.
Yeah. He must save 1,000 gold pieces to acquire
Fortunately, he already has a second job.
it. Objectives. Acquire 1,000 GP. Or he
equivalent. Rewards.
Soul Singer.
The Soul Singer Rapier. Okay, and then I can show it to you.
Amazing. Do I have to go somewhere in Foundry to find it?
Hold on, let me make it in progress. Okay, so now that you should be able to see it.
I can. Incredible.
And
I
then
love it.
on the left-hand side of the screen, you'll see the quest tracker, which will just pull up Soul Song. And as you come up with more things that you want Tam to do, we can make a quest for them.
Love it. Very cool.
All right. While this has happened, and you've set Soul Singer down on the table, Sagona next to you says, "Now that's a legend-worthy sword. Do you think maybe we could learn about it somewhere?"
Maybe the library? Doesn't Tabernac have like a library or something?
Oh, he does, aye. That's definitely the sort of thing a wizard dragon would have books about, isn't it?
You would think, right? I've been wanting to meet him anyway. I've never met a dragon before.
Well, now we have something to do after we get that drink.
Well, yeah. I mean, I kind of already also have some other stuff to do. But yes, we should absolutely go there first.
You would dare ditch me for other obligations.
No, I promise not. See, I kind of have a job.
I'm just kidding. You just met me today, it's fine.
No, but I like you. You're my friend.
Well, fancy that. You're my friend too.
I love it. Look, I have a friend. I'll write my sister. I'll tell her.
Hey, let's not get too hasty. I don't want to I gotta make sure you don't embarrass me first.
Oh, okay, that's fair. No, that's very fair.
Again, I'm kidding. Chick. 9 hells. All right. We need to get back to what we were doing. We were scouting out the patrols.
Did you figure out the best place to brawl, or are we working on that still?
Still working on that.
Okay, let's do it.
You got distracted by that fancy sword. Let's keep going.
I sure did. You're right. You're right. That's on me.
It's fine.
First we got distracted by trolley cakes, and now
they were delicious.
They were so worth it, and now we're focused.
Right. Anyway, lead the way. And Sagona begins again scouting out. While that's happening, roll me perception.
Okay. 18.
Okay. Sagona rolled well as well. As you guys are walking around, you make note of the patterns at which the guards seem to follow. And most of the guards seem as though they just kind of walk through the South Docks. They follow the main alleyways between vendors. They follow the main streets between buildings. And the South Docks are full of businesses. Some of them are much closer together than others, but there are all sorts of things, from cobblers to toy makers to clothing stores to barbers to restaurants to the Shipstool Tavern, which is a large sideways-looking galleon that's been built into an actual tavern. Which it seems as though many guards kind of loiter around the Shipstool, whether it is to make sure that drunks don't do anything they would regret, or maybe it's so that instead the guards can maybe sneak in on a break and grab a drink on their own.
Have you met Nore yet? He's gonna ask. She started a brawl there a couple days ago, so maybe a right place.
Sagona looks and says, Nore? I'm not so good with names. What's she look like?
Red hair, she got lots of swords, kinda grumpy. She's my classmate.
Oh, the other bard. Yep, I've met her. If you had just said the other bard that wasn't a null, I would have got it.
Oh, yeah. She's great musician and real good with a sword. She does not like me much. Or most people, I think.
Don't take it personal. You can't be everybody's flavor.
I guess that's true.
Of
You're wise too, huh?
course I am. I'm a
Oh,
dwarf.
yeah.
As you
Said
are.
about every positive thing I say. So I guess dwarves are just the best. Huh?
Dwarves are pretty great, unless they're terrible. I gotta have some sense of pride, and I can't all blame it on Nair.
Okay, so they have a good scout of the guards.
Yes, you have gotten a good lay of the land, as it were. And Sagona has found a spot that she believes would be really good for attracting attention should a brawl begin. And it is right in front of one of the vendors, one that has lots of china and porcelain. Sagona says, "If I just happen to push someone over into some of these, the noise, the clatter, and the frustration of the keeper will definitely get everybody's attention. What do you think?"
I think that's great. You could also amplify that noise.
That's the plan.
Love it. Excellent. Excellent.
You see that Sagona kind of smirks, and she kind of rubs her palm over her fist, and tiny little sparks of electricity just between the two of them. And she says,
Oh,
it'll be fun.
that's cool. I wouldn't want to be on the wrong side of your fist.
Well, don't piss me off.
Okay. Roger that.
Bet. It's a deal. And Sagona says, I'm going to loiter around here and look as though I am just part of the landscape.
Okay.
You go scout where you can find perhaps the most people to sway with your musical alacrity.
Yeah, I don't know if it's going to be as good as that time I was playing with the sword, but I'll see what I can do with my bow.
I bet you'll do fine. It'll be better than the noise I'll be making smashing plates over people's heads.
Yeah, maybe we can harmonize. He's gonna
Don't have much rhythm as you're heading.
he's gonna punch her in the shoulder and be like, "Hey, the fiddler watches you too, you know," and give her some guidance.
Uh-huh. She says as your fist now hurts because you punched the pauldron.
Yes.
But you do grant her guidance. But she does tip her head and say, "Thanks."
He'll hang out, try to find the best place to find the best crowd to be distracted by some music.
Roll me an insight check.
Okay. I'm great at those.
I was going to say,
So
you don't
good,
sound super confident, but yeah.
Yeah, he always fails his insight checks. He always gets terrible. He always does terribly on this.
With an 8, and so you don't really get a read on where you could get the best view, or rather get the best collection of people. But instead what we're going to do is the boat is coming into this dock, you think. Sagona has chosen a vendor that's right here. Do you see what I'm pinging?
Shoot. Sorry. Yeah, I see where you're pinging. I accidentally made a thing.
You
on there.
accidentally made a circle. Yeah. How could you?
Yeah. Sorry.
It's okay.
Okay, so I see where you're pinging with Sagona. Where was the boat coming in?
This dock, you're pretty sure.
That dock.
That's
okay.
This corner is where Marcus is posted up. So.
Gotcha.
Why don't you ping on the map where it is you are going to try and create a performance?
Okay, the boat's coming into that dock. I mean, and Sagona is here?
Here.
Here. Okay, I'm trying to ping on the map, and it's
if you just put your cursor in that spot, I'll know where you're talking about.
Around, so it's coming into this dock here?
Yes.
Yeah, so maybe on a little bit to the other side, so the guard's attention is split.
Over here?
So like around here. Yeah.
Okay. That's fine. Without the help of the insight check, you choose by location, and that's where you're going to play. Okay. Fair enough. And you kind of choose your spot. You're kind of getting a lay of who is there. There are a number of guards around, and the time passes. You passed a lot of time doing scouting with Sagona, and also looking at the Soul Singer. As you get yourself situated in this area, you see Marcus kind of frantically looking back and forth between you and Sagona, and you see he does the lip signal like over and over and over as if he has a terrible itch on his lip.
Okay.
It's not subtle.
Tam will scurry closer and grant him some bardic inspiration.
Okay.
And also grant him some guidance. Hopefully, Sagona's used it by now.
Sagona has, and also you hear from the other side of him, you hear Sagona say,
"Nair's got our backs, as always."
And she blesses herself, you, and Marcus.
Oh, wow. Amazing.
Yep, bless covers 3 people, so you are now blessed. You can add a D4 to basically everything.
Fabulous.
As that happens, Sagona then marches back toward the vendor, and you turn around to see a large 2-deck schooner pulling up into the dock. There is a fairly stern-looking human woman at the helm of the ship who is shouting orders, and the crew begins to hop off the boat and mooring it onto the dock. As all this is happening, you see Sagona looking over at the ship and at Marcus, and it is not until the captain sets foot off of the dock that Marcus just kind of nods very aggressively, and Sagona, you hear the sounds of just plates crashing. The sounds of people suddenly going, "Hey, what?" And I'm going to roll a couple things for Sagona, which are not for you to worry about right now. But what are you doing as the distraction is taking off?
As it kicks off, I'm going to go into a really loud, raucous, fun, like, I don't know exactly the kind of, it's like shanty adjacent that's like about coming back from sea.
Okay.
Like as if it's to welcome some of the sailors, to try to like maybe get some of the sailors a little bit distracted on the ship, and also getting some of the sailors that are in the docks kind of like in on it, and hoping that they'll sing along with me and help me with my distraction.
I like this choice. I will give you advantage for the context.
Cool.
Go ahead and roll performance with advantage as you try and attract the sailors' attention into a shanty.
Oh, wow, that's great.
That's pretty good. Okay.
That's pretty good. And then I have a D4 to add, right?
You do, yes. From the bless. Okay, so at 26, that beats the very hard DC for anything that you're trying to do. And so, okay, one moment. As you play this music that is raucous and loud, and it's a very aggressive shanty, generally these things are about how horny sailors are, and they're glad to be back. And even though the things were difficult at sea, now they're home, and they can get absolutely drunk.
Yes.
It is not long before every single sailor that has come off the ship, casks have been broken open, and sailors are singing along. You have successfully acquired the attention of most of the individuals here. It is kind of uplifting to hear all of these sailors singing along with you on a very common, popular, and well-known shanty. And as it's happening, you get that resonating vibrato between the sailors singing along with your voice. While this is happening, you've done well enough to give Marcus advantage, so I'm going to roll for him. Oh. Okay, so...
Bardic. He's guidance in Bardic.
Okay, alright. It's a D6?
Yeah, D6, and also bless.
Yes, I rolled the bless already. Okay. So, while on your end, you have everyone's attention, over the crowd of heads, you see Marcus, who is actually fairly spry. He has emerged off the dock, and he has a small crate under one arm, and you see he's darting toward one of the buildings. Unfortunately, from the ruckus that you heard on the other side of the docks, from Sigona's side, Sigona did not roll very well, and on top of that, Marcus has rolled terribly on his final roll. So, despite the fact that you have the entire crew's attention, the captain steps out of the ship's stool and sees Marcus with this box underfoot, and you hear her shout, "Marcus? What? Guards! Thief!" And immediately, there is a chase occurring that most of the crew is unaware of. You see it happening as you're singing this song, and it's happening like behind the crew. But the captain of the ship is now chasing Marcus down an alley, and there are guards chasing after them. And then you see
give him one more bardic while he's running away.
Yeah, you can give him one more bardic. It's another D6.
Yeah, it's another D6.
Okay.
I don't know if it'll help, but
it might in the
Tam is trying to do his part here.
It might in the coming chase. And then you see Sigona run up to the edge of the alley, and she looks at you, and and then runs into the alley after them. I mean, you know what this signal means. The hand across the neck, the cut it signal.
Yep.
What do you do?
He will, because he doesn't want it to look too suspicious, he will, finish the verse and then take a bow and then book it in the same direction.
Okay. So, with that really good performance roll, you successfully end the performance without it seeming too weird, and most of the sailors are just cheering and clapping and laughing. And as you leave, this is going to become a skill challenge.
Okay.
As you chase after the horribly fucked up situation here.
Man, Tam finally did well.
That's how it goes.
The dice tell a story.
The dice tell a story. All right. You run down the alley, and as you do, you see coming around the other side of the alley, Marcus, who basically skids around the alley, sees you and runs the other way, and then as he's running, the guards and the captain come out of that alley, and they immediately take off toward him. And then you see Sigona emerge, and she waves for you to run after them as they are going. Now, you are behind the guards, and who are they are behind Marcus. So, what are you going to do here?
I'm behind the guards. They're behind Marcus. This is probably stupid. Can he make a silent image of Marcus running around the corner to try to distract the guards and make them go the other way?
What's your spell DC?
It's only 14. It's not very high.
Okay. This is not a stupid idea. Guards are not the most perceptive. The captain might be harder to trick, but you can totally try this. All right, so I'm going to roll an investigation for the guards.
Okay.
They rolled a 13.
Okay.
Which is underneath your DC. So, describe this illusion for me as best you can.
So it's gonna be Marcus with a box under his arm, looking frazzled, running around like the opposite corner. And I don't know how far I can look at the spell. I don't know how far I can get him to go, but mostly it's just to kind of get him around the corner and like as if he's gone into another alley.
Okay. So what happens is, you see Marcus run to the right, and then you create an illusion of Marcus looking confused. Right as they round the corner, he runs to the left, and the guards are fully convinced. They run up to that corner, they take a sharp left. The captain, I'm going to roll an investigation for her, which hers is better. She rolled a natural 4. So all three of them run to the left, and you and Sigona are running. You take a right, and you follow where Marcus actually went. At this point, you look over your shoulder, you see the guards and captain looking around this alley as Marcus has disappeared, and they're very confused. I'm going to roll them a perception check, but you've bought yourself a round. What do you do for this round?
Would it be silly for me to yell at them, "He vanished," and try to like deceive them into
It would
thinking?
be a deception check. But also you risk giving yourself like up
Yeah,
as important. You couldn't do
yeah.
that.
I think no. I think he's just gonna follow. I think he's gonna think about that, but just follow him.
Okay.
Um, okay.
So
So
I need a skill or solution here,
you need a
or the
skill or
guards will
solution.
immediately get back on the right tail.
Sure. Can I use thaumaturgy to make it sound like he went a different like try to like mimic footsteps? Um,
Yes, yes, you can. Roll me another deception check.
okay. Oh, that's not good at all. I have a bless, but I don't think it's going to help me much.
A 10 is harder to beat than a 7 or an 8. Okay, so an 8. Let me roll insight for the guards. Okay, let me roll insight for the captain. Okay. As you are running and you make this thaumaturgy sound, that you give them a moment's pause as they look for where the hell that sound came from. The guards are thoroughly confused. They don't believe that the sound was actually him, but they don't know where it actually came from. The captain has looked and seen you do something. She doesn't know what you did. She hasn't made the connection that that was the spell. The captain is on your tail. The guards are confused. As you keep going, you run up and you see Marcus take a left into the market, diving between vendors and carts, which gives you an opportunity here for a different kind of distraction or maybe going another route. So I'm going to leave this decision up to you. What do you do here?
Okay, I'm going to minor illusion the box as if I have the box now. And I'm going to try to get the captain to chase me instead.
Okay. I will roll investigation for the captain. She rolled a 13. I guess that's the roll today. So she believes you have the box. And she says, "You, stop!" And she's chasing you. What do you do?
Okay. I'm going to yell for Sagona.
She's right next to you.
Yeah. This way. And just like run in the opposite direction of Marcus.
Okay. Sagona follows you, and she's right next to you, running in the splint mail, and she says, "You know, dwarves aren't so good for long distance," as you're running down this alley. The captain rounds the corner behind you. You have a minor illusion of the box that she is trying to chase down under your arm. And you are basically in this alley here as you're running.
Sorry, can you ping that again?
Yeah, it's up here.
Okay, gotcha.
What do you do?
Is there a place so he went Marcus went the direction of where there's like a bunch of people, right?
Yeah, he's like in the market.
Are there other people? Is there an opposite direction where there'd still be people where I can kind of like blend in with them?
You're running by people the whole time. If you're gonna try and like just hide yourself amongst other people, it's basically just gonna be a stealth check.
Okay. Yeah, okay.
All right.
Yeah, I can try to. Yeah, I'll try to do that.
Roll stealth. You dive, you like round a corner, and as soon as you see a group of other people, you just kind of sidle yourself up next to them with a 21. Let me roll. Oh, yeah. As you and Sagona kind of tuck yourselves into people, the captain runs right past you. You see she runs past you down the alley, looking left, looking forward, and then she stops and she just walks left. You've lost her. She doesn't know where you went.
Okay. Can I sneak back the other way? Can I sneak back the other way to try to figure out where Marcus is?
Yes. Roll me perception.
Heck yeah.
22. You see him slip into a clothing shop right here.
Okay. I'm gonna run for there.
Okay. Uh, do you still have the minor illusion?
I'm gonna dismiss it, actually.
Okay. So you and Sagona are just walking, and next to you, Sagona says, "Oh, this is intense."
Yeah. Didn't
And
expect to do this much running today.
Me neither. I wouldn't have worn my splint mail.
and as you make your way across the market, you step into the clothing shop where you see Marcus has selected a vibrant purple cloak, uh, and just a very large red like overcoat, and he is looking like he's kind of like sidling in between the racks, and he makes eye contact with you when he enters, and he just like makes a nod, and then he kind of gestures toward the back of the shop.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, Tam will follow.
As that happens, you walk up to the back of the shop, and you see he still has the box. He's tucked it underneath the coat, and he says,
"Oh, that was perfect. We got right away. That was exactly what I needed."
Well, I could have maybe gone a little smoother, but good. I got her to chase me. I think she's still out there looking for us, though.
Right, that's perfect. We just need to lay low for a little while until they think that maybe we've left town.
Okay. Can I ask what's in the box?
he kind of frowns, and he says, "That's not how this is supposed to go, usually."
Oh, you don't have to tell me. I was just curious.
Well, Purse said there'd be no questions, so I'm gonna.
Oh, okay. I'm sorry. This is my first one of this kind of these.
It's
But I hope whatever it is helpful to you.
it's exactly what I needed. Thank you.
Good.
And I'll be sending word to the academy that you did exactly what I needed you to do.
Okay. Sorry for asking questions.
It's fine. You see he like looks a little suspicious, but um he seems to accept that you are new to this. As you wait and wait, laying low, you're pretty sure after like a good hour that they're not going to look in this one clothing shop. And after a while, the clothier approaches you all and says, "Hello, excuse me, are you buying something?" This petite elven woman is asking. And Marcus looks up and says, "Yes, I'd like this overcoat." And she says, "Oh, this'll be 2 gold, please." And he does pay for it. And then she looks at the two of you, and Sigona says, "No, ma'am, I'm just window shopping. From the inside."
Yeah. Windowless window shopping.
And the elven woman kind of frowns but nods, and then returns to the front counter. And at this point, Marcus says,
Perfect. All right. When I say I'm going to just make it out the front door, and I'm going to go straight up the logging district. They won't think to look at me there, I imagine. And the two of you, I think you're all clear.
Okay. You say we're done, then good luck.
Aye, this has been perfect.
I'm glad. I'm gonna give him some guidance for the road.
"Okay." You watch as he, not very conspicuously, kind of tiptoes out of the clothing store, takes a left, and walks up the street toward the logging district. You don't see any guards immediately apprehend him, so you imagine it's probably clear.
Okay.
So as that happens, I need to end the intense chase music.
The chase music was great, though.
And as you and Sagona are standing in this clothing shop, Sagona says,
That was very odd.
Yeah. How'd it go on your end?
I expected there to be more of a fight, but the man I hit with the plate just told me he was sorry for being in my way. So instead of it being a big distraction, it was more just an awkward social moment.
Satisfying.
It didn't really. I mean, I got to hit somebody with a plate. But he paid for it and everything. It was very anticlimactic. I'll say that.
Understand. Well, my thing went great. I got to sing with a whole bunch of sailors.
I heard. It sounded very nice.
Yeah.
I imagine.
Nice out there. I liked it.
I imagine if I'd created a better distraction, maybe that woman hadn't seen Marcus so readily.
Hey, it's not your fault. The guy apologized to you for hitting him with a plate. That's just bad luck.
I'll look at it that way. That makes me feel a little bit better.
Hey, Storm guided you here, right? That's just what was going to happen.
I can't argue with that. Nier works in interesting ways.
Well, let's go back to Marigard and tell Persh about this treasure before somebody else gets it.
Oh, right! I forgot about that. Good idea. And she follows you. So you head to the academy?
Any random encounters on the way? You need to roll a thing?
I do need you to roll a d8, just in case.
Okay. 5.
Roll me a d100.
Oh my gosh.
91.
91.
Hold on. Hold on. Okay. After everything that has happened, after helping Marcus get away with his box, after all of that, and you're up by East Park once more, taking the turn toward the Marigard Academy, you see that there is a procession of adventurers who are gleaming in their armor. They are Marigard armor, but the armor itself is polished. They look as though they are clean and just absolutely opulent in the equipment that they're wielding. Everything they're wearing is magical. They look extremely powerful. And they seem to be boisterous and laughing as they are making their way down the street. And you see that many people that are on the street nearby are like waving at them or smiling at them. Apparently, this is a Marigard contracting team that are well known for being victorious and maybe almost heroic.
I'm gonna look at Sagona and say, hey, they look like they're Marigard. Why don't we just tell them about the treasure?
Sagona looks at you and she says, because then Persh might not assign us to go get it.
Oh, yeah, good thinking. Okay. That's fair.
I want to see what it is that we get. If we get the goal.
I'm just afraid that, like, what if it's a big cavern and there's a lot more that we can handle and stuff?
What can't we handle?
I don't know. A dragon?
Okay. Less than a dragon, what can't we handle? Look, it's up to Persh. If they scout it out and decide that we're the right for the job, I'd like to at least have an option.
Fair. Okay, well, do you know any of these guys here? Can I, like, roll history on them? Do I know any of these people?
Roll a history check. A 19.
19.
Based on their armor, based on the banner that one of them is carrying, you're pretty sure you've heard of a contracting team that works for the Marigard, known as the Yellow Fiend.
The Yellow Fiend?
Yes.
Any chance I know any, like, songs or poems or stuff about them?
No, there hasn't been anything written about them, unless with a 19, I should say. No, you don't think so. At least
Gotcha.
Nothing comes to mind.
I'm gonna try to find the one that looks the friendliest, and just give that person kind of a cheery wave of like a hello. I too am Marigard. I'm from the Marigard, but otherwise not try to like bother them.
Okay. You smile and wave and make that performance toward a dark elf, who just kind of raises a hand and nods at you with a smile.
Okay, that's fair. That's all I need. I'm intimidated. I'm fine to just keep going.
Okay. You've at least caught the eye of a powerful adventuring party. And you basically said we go to the same school. Then you make your way up to the Marigard Academy. As you do, hold on. You see that the contracting team does not go in the front door. Instead, they take a right and they go around the courtyard, leaving the front door open to you specifically.
Okay.
So, do you
Then
go in?
We'll go inside. Yeah, we'll go inside.
All right. Persh sits at the desk, as always, doing his paperwork, and he looks up and he says, "Right, you're back. I imagine the job's finished."
Yep, it's all done. Person was happy. Also, really important, some other adventurers were talking about some treasure in a cavern near East Park in the village. Gosh, where was it? All in Forest.
So, wait, the caverns in East Park.
Near
Or is
East
it-
Park. The adventurers were in East Park. They were talking about treasure in Allenforth Forest in some like abandoned Kaibold cavern. We couldn't get the name of the cavern without them hearing us, but we know that there's treasure, and we thought you should know about it.
All right, there's a few places that could be. I appreciate that. I'll have a recon team go and look at it. And from over behind you, Sagona says, "I volunteer if that's, not too much of a hassle." And Persh,
Yeah, me too.
Persh looks up at the two of you and says, "Right, I'll make a note that you wish to see it for yourselves. I'll let you know if that is possible." Was there anything
Can I-
else?
Not really. We did the job. We did it.
Right.
It was fun.
Well done. I expect to hear from Mr. Nolan soon enough.
Yeah, he said he would tell you.
Good. In that case, the rest of the evening is yours. Well done, you two.
Thanks. You want to go look into that sword, then get a drink?
Oh, why? That's an excellent idea.
Persh, where does Tabernac hang out?
If you go down the hall, right-hand side, he's at the top of the Wizard's Tower.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome. He goes back to work. So, you head in that direction?
Yes.
Okay.
Happily chattering with Sigourney. He wouldn't call her Sigourney. Sigona.
Sigona, yes. Sigona is excited as well because she has yet to meet Tabernac, you learn. She hasn't really had cause to go there. So, as you climb the tower up into Tabernac's classroom, you open the door to find a massive library. Inside, you see that there are two individuals at the tables. What looks like a tall-looking elf who is seated at one, and at another table, they're not anywhere near each other, is a halfling. And the two of them have their own books open and they're working. And as you enter, the halfling looks up and says, "Oh, good day."
Hey, are you wizard students?
"Hi, how can we help you?"
We're looking for some information on a sword, but also to meet Tabernac.
"Oh, well,
You might have some luck. Well, first, Tabernacle's down on his stage, so if you go by the balcony, you can climb down the stairs. You'll see him. You
Stage?
can't miss him. Yeah,
He has a stage?
he's a dragon.
Does he perform? Oh.
It's not that kind of stage.
Oh, it's because he's big. Okay, that makes sense.
And then, I mean, I'm sure he can help you find whatever you're looking for.
Thanks.
No worries.
Do good spells.
So far, so good.
What's your favorite?
Callie looks up at you and she says,
I'm quite fond of Firebolt right now.
Yeah?
And Magic Missile.
Oh. I can't do either of those. Those sound fancy.
I'm an evocation specialist.
Oh, so it's the kind. Do I know what that means?
yeah. Yeah,
It's
you
the
do.
kind that goes boom, right?
That's right.
That's a fun kind of magic. I'm not very good at that kind of magic, but I respect it.
Respect is the most important part.
Yeah, you'd be a fool not to respect a thing that goes boom.
I like you.
Thanks.
I hope you have a
I
good
like
conversation
wizards.
with Tabernacle.
Okay.
And she goes back to working on her parchments.
I think he'll maybe tilt his head and look at the elf. He's been around elves a lot.
Yeah.
And try to just sort of I imagine he hasn't really looked up at all. He's just focused on his work.
He was focused on his work, but when you look at him, he kind of glances up and says, "Yes, hello? How can I help you? If there is anything."
Nothing, just haven't seen an elf in a bit. I'm going to say that in Elvish since I speak it since I'm from Coda City.
Yeah. You say it in Elvish, and you see he kind of perks up and says, "Oh, well, it's a pleasant day to you. It's always kind to meet someone who's familiar with the proper tongue." And he says that to you in Elvish.
God. I'm going to ask if he's from Coda City. Is he from Coda City?
Of course
from-
I am.
Yeah, me too.
I thought I recognized your accent. It's a pleasure.
I'm gonna toss him a little candy. One of my little Coda City candies.
Okay. The candy kind of clatters on the table and he looks down at it and says, "Oh, my goodness, I haven't seen one of these in quite a long time. Thank you very much. It's a bit of nostalgia for me." And he tucks it into a pocket on his cloak.
Give him a little salute. Go off to see Tabernacle.
Okay. Tabernacle is a massive brass dragon. He sits on this large stage, but in front of that stage is what looks like a sitting room, with all sorts of small conversation pieces and works of art, and on the edges of the room, all sorts of things that are covered by what look like canvas covers, so they're not immediately obvious what they are. As you are descending the stairs, Tabernacle looks up at you and he says, "Ah, good evening, newcomers.
You are a dragon.
Your skills of perception are truly remarkable."
Do I need to make a save for fear or something?
He's not trying
'Cause
to
he's-
frighten you. It's up to you if you do.
Okay. No, I was just man, this is a dragon.
It is
cool.
a dragon.
No, I think Tam's just enthralled. I think honestly he's too enamored with the idea of talking to a dragon that isn't gonna immediately kill him
Sure.
to be afraid.
If I recall, you are Temerity Goldhorn, the new bard student, yes?
You have a good memory, sir.
I had better. I have forgotten more things than I know. And behind you, Sagona Row. And Sagona just kind of bows her head and says, "Yeah, yes. It's a right pleasure." "And much the same. Now, how may I help you? You come
well-
with a purpose, after all."
I do. Oh, well, if it's not too much trouble, sir, do you know anything about a sword called the Soul Singer?
Allow me a moment to roll a history check for Tabernac. He's pretty good at this. Tabernac is currently in a position where it's almost like a cat loaf, but dragon form. And he raises a massive claw and strokes it across the chin where there is almost like a scale beard sort of thing. And he says, I have heard the name. Why?
Well, someone in the square is selling it, and I love it. And I figured I should learn more about it, but I really want to buy it.
Someone in the square, you say?
Yes.
That is unusual.
He is a vendor, but he only has one item on his cart, and he's basically just waiting until someone will buy it. And it's 1,000 gold, and I don't really see how that makes a business. But I appreciate that he has it.
Do you mind if I take a closer look into that memory of yours?
Yeah, sure, you can do that.
Tabernac reaches forward, pointing a claw at you, and he's going to pry further with Detect Thoughts.
That's terrifying.
Yes. You can choose to fail on this wisdom saving throw, or you can attempt...
I said it was fine, so I kind of shift uncomfortably, but I choose to fail.
Okay, I don't know if you could succeed on the saving throw, honestly. All right, he pries further, and you can kind of see as you almost forcefully remember the whole encounter with that vendor. Finally, after what feels like an eternity, but was really only a few seconds, Tabernac says, Interesting. What do you know of the vendor you visited?
Oh, sir, that he seemed to think that I was worthy steward of the sword, which I appreciate. But I did think it was kind of weird that he only had the one item, and he said that he was in town for 2 months to sell this thing, I guess.
He said he'd been in town for 2 months.
Yes.
That little Tam was an air djinn.
Oh. What is that?
A spirit of the airplane, often one frivolous or with whimsical intentions. As you encountered it, and it wished to sell this soul singer, that is remarkable.
Does that mean it won't be there in the square next time? Have I lost the sword forever?
I imagine until that sword is sold, that air djinn will be right where you left him.
Okay.
But
I'd better
only,
get 1,000 gold real quick.
But only when you are looking for him.
Huh. Okay. Huh.
The Soul Singer is a weapon that carries the soul of a legendary bard. It is a sentient weapon, one of few. I find it interesting this djinn is trying to acquire 1,000 gold pieces, but his reasons are his own.
Do djinn not need money?
That depends on the djinn. Some do, some don't. Depends on if they live here or in the airplane to which they are native. It depends on their standing in the rankings of their culture. It depends on if they reside in the city of steel and crystal. It depends on so many things. There's no way to know from that brief interaction.
So I probably won't get a discount.
Probably not, no.
Okay, well, I'm just gonna have to earn 1,000 gold then.
I have faith that should you keep working with Zurich Silver, you will make that money in good time.
Oh, you know about that, huh? How do you know about that?
You told me yourself.
Did I?
Tabernac taps a claw on the side of his head.
Nothing gets by you, does it, sir?
Not if I'm doing my job.
You don't mind that I'm doing a side job in
Battery
addition to
low.
school?
No. Not at all. I'm not your teacher. That's Tally's problem.
Okay. Well, Tally wants me to relax, so this is kind of relaxing. Working is like relaxing.
I think you and I have that in common.
He says this with great earnestness.
Is there anything else I can help you with?
He'll look at Sagona. Do you need anything from an incredible dragon that doesn't want to hurt us?
No. Excuse me, Mr. Tabernac. I just wanted to know, have you ever had a trolley cake?
And Tabernac smiles and says,
I have had many in my time. They are among my favorites.
and Sagona nods and says, mine too. Thank you for the information about the sword. That was fascinating. That's all I had.
You want to? We should give him the other trolley cake. Yeah.
Oh, aye, it's a good idea. You have it.
Yeah. Tam will be like, "Thank you," and kind of be unsure how to hand this
Battery
tiny thing
low.
to this massive dragon,
Okay.
but kind of like hold it up in his hands.
A tiny... Hold on. Sorry.
Charging battery.
A tiny mage hand floats out and picks up the trolley cake, and Tabernac says,
Really, they are my favorites, so I would never turn one down.
and the trolley cake flies up, and Tabernac bites it out of the air. And you see he slowly savors it and chews it, and he says,
Thank you dearly.
Sir, can I ask you a question before we
Of
leave?
course.
So this room is really well furnished, and you got all that art on the walls.
This
I
is my lair, after all.
That's what I was gonna ask. Do all
Oh.
dragons necessarily like want to have big piles of gold and stuff, or do you prefer like art and books and stories?
My treasure is stories, conversation, worthwhile tales, and personal histories. These are what matter to me.
Sounds like the best kind of treasure trove to me.
Again, something you and I have in common.
Well, I won't bother you more, but maybe someday you can tell me a story and I'll tell you one.
I am always happy to exchange stories.
Okay. I'll let you get back to work, or rest, or both.
I have far too much work to do to rest. But I will see you next time.
I will. Yes. Nice to meet you, sir.
A pleasure it has been.
Excellent. Scurry, scurry, scurry.
okay. As you leave, that is where we are going to call it as we near the 2-hour
Excellent.
mark. So, thank you for playing with me, and thank you all for watching this session of From Nothing, Tam's story. I had a blast, and I can't wait to play with you again next week.
Oh my gosh, I'm so excited. I'm so excited. I have like such a what a cool sword. You made that up, I imagine, that sword.
Yes.
That's custom. That's I love it. It's such a cool idea. The like bow of the edge. So good. So good. And I love Sedona. I knew her a little bit. I'd listened to Caitlin's session this morning, and so I like knew that she existed. So I'm very excited that like, oh cool, cleric person that sort of matches Tam's energy. Tam has a friend.
Tam has found a friend, yes. Segona is an unusual, quirky dwarf, and I'm glad that you rolled her.
Me too.
Thank you for playing, and I'll see you next week.
Yeah, see you next week.